My girlfriend slept with my dad. My family hid it. So I burned every bridge on my way out. The following story came from Reddit and was posted by a user named user8957. My girlfriend was laughing with my father in the kitchen when I came home early. That moment, the two of them giggling like teenagers while she stood barefoot in my parents' kitchen, stirring soup like she lived there, is frozen in my brain like a bad photograph. His hand was resting on the counter, just a little too close to her hip. Her smile was softer than it should have been. And when they both noticed me at the same time, they jumped back like kids caught sneaking out. They said they were just cooking, but I already knew the truth. Because by then, I'd already seen the texts. Let me rewind. I was 25 when this happened. My girlfriend, Marissa, and I had been together for 2 years. She was beautiful, warm, funny, the kind of woman who could make you feel like you were the only one in the room. I was proud to bring her home, to introduce her to my family, to show her off at holidays and birthdays. My mother loved her. My brother thought she was too good for me. And my dad? Well, he was overly friendly from day one. He'd always been charming, the kind of man who made waitresses laugh too loud and shook every hand a little too long. But with Marissa, it was different. He'd compliment her outfits, ask for her opinions on wine, joke about how, if he were 30 years younger. At the time, I thought it was harmless. I thought he was harmless. Turns out, I was wrong. The first red flag showed up 6 months before the kitchen moment. Marissa was texting more than usual, late at night, always quick to flip her phone face down when I walked in. She said it was work. Her manager had just left, and she was helping cover extra tasks. But I knew her patterns. She was never this protective of her phone. One night, she left it charging on the table while she took a shower. I wasn't trying to snoop. I just glanced at the lock screen when it lit up. It was a message from a contact saved under D. The preview read, "Miss you today? Still thinking about last night." I opened it. Face ID unlocked it on the first try. The full message thread was a nightmare. There were no explicit photos. Nothing graphic. Just line after line of soft, flirtatious intimacy. The kind of messages you send someone when you think no one's watching. "You always make me feel like the only woman in the room." I wish we could tell him. I hate hiding. "Your hands feel different than his." More sure. I scrolled further, until I found the one that hit me in the chest like a car. "I still can't believe he hasn't figured it out. You're literally his dad." I didn't move for almost a minute. Just sat there on the edge of the couch, phone in hand, heart hammering in my throat. Marissa and my father. My girlfriend and my father. I copied everything. Screenshots. Messages. Timestamps. Then I emailed them to myself. I put her phone back exactly where I found it, stood up, and walked to the bathroom. She was brushing her hair. Smiling. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "Dinner," I said. "You hungry?" I didn't say anything that night. Or the next. Instead, I went to my parents' house the next afternoon to test a theory. I told my mom I'd stop by. Said I wanted to borrow an old box of photos from the attic for a work project. She was thrilled to see me, like always. Hugged me hard. Asked about Marissa. "She's good," I said. "You know Dad better than anyone." They really seemed to click. She didn't react. Just nodded slowly. "He likes talking to her," she said. "She's very easy to be around." That was all. Not a flicker of suspicion. Not a word of concern. Almost like she knew something and had decided not to look directly at it. The next test was my brother. He's younger than me. Smarter in some ways. A bit of a cynic. We never had long heart-to-hearts, but he always saw things others didn't. I invited him out for drinks. Casual. Halfway through his second beer, I dropped the bait. "You ever notice how close Marissa and Dad are?" He laughed. "You mean how he's been drooling over her since day one?" I stared at him. "That doesn't seem weird to you?" He shrugged. "I mean, yeah, but it's Dad. He flirts with the mirror when he shaves." She flirts back. They're both attention junkies. "Would you say it's just flirting?" He paused. Drank. "I don't know, man. You'd be the one to know if something was going on." I nodded. Finished my drink. That told me everything I needed to know. So when I walked into the kitchen 2 nights later and saw the two of them alone together, laughing over a pot of soup, I didn't have a breakdown. I didn't throw anything. I just watched them. And I smiled. Because by that point, I wasn't broken. I was calculating. They acted like everything was normal. Marissa kissed my cheek. My father patted my shoulder. My mother asked if I wanted salad. And I sat there at that table with all of them, my family, my girlfriend, the people who should have had my back. And I realized something. None of them deserved me anymore. They weren't just blind. They were complicit. So I stayed quiet. For now. Because if I was going to leave this behind, I wasn't going to cry on my way out. I was going to burn the entire foundation to the ground. I didn't confront them that night. Not because I was scared. And not because I was trying to forgive. I just knew I only had one shot to do this right. I had already been made a fool once. I wasn't going to leave with just heartbreak and screenshots. I wanted answers. I wanted clarity. I wanted to look them in the eyes while they lied and smile, knowing what was coming. So I waited, watched, listened, and started planning the exit. Over the next 2 weeks, I made myself more available. I told Marissa I had fewer hours at work, said I wanted to spend more time with her and my family. Before the next chapter, I called it. She was thrilled. She thought I was softening again, that I was returning to the man she thought I was, the one who ignored red flags, made excuses, and called himself lucky to have her. She had no idea I already knew about the text messages, the emails, the hotel booking under my father's name from 2 months ago, the one only 15 minutes from our house. That was the detail that got to me. It wasn't even far. He didn't even try to hide it. During that same 2-week stretch, I visited my parents more often, usually alone. I offered to help my mom with groceries, fixed the squeaky garage door, even helped my father clean out the attic, just because. He looked at me with that same casual arrogance he always wore, like we were still on the same level, like he hadn't crossed the line, like he hadn't looked at my girlfriend and thought, why not me? I wanted to see if guilt would show up on his face. It didn't. At least, not until the final week. That week, I asked Marissa if she wanted to go away for the weekend. Just us. Really? She asked, surprised. Yeah, I said. Just to clear our heads. Recharge. Get out of the house. She agreed without hesitation. Smiled like we were writing a new chapter. I booked a cabin. Planned everything. But I didn't pack a bag. The night before we were supposed to leave, I told her I'd forgotten something in my car and walked out to the parking lot. Then I got in my car and drove across town to a friend's place, someone who owed me a favor. He worked in IT. I gave him a list of phone numbers. My girlfriend's. My dad's. I didn't need content. I just wanted connection logs. Call durations. Locations. When I got confirmed everything. Midnight calls between them on nights she claimed she was working late. Location pings in neighborhoods we never visited. Back-to-back calls after family dinners. The kind that screamed, let's debrief what just happened and make sure we weren't caught. They were arrogant, but they weren't careful. I texted Marissa at 7 a.m. the next morning. I'm not coming to the cabin. I know everything. I'll be by tonight to collect what's mine. Don't be home. She called me 4 times. Left voicemails. I didn't listen. I forwarded the screenshots of the texts, the call logs, the hotel receipt, and a message that just said, you slept with my father. Tell your story to someone else. Then I turned off my phone. That afternoon, I drove back to the house we shared. She wasn't there. Good. I walked inside and collected everything that belonged to me. Documents, tech, the box of mementos I actually cared about. I left everything else. The TV? Hers. The dishes? Hers. The bed we used to share? I took the frame. Left the mattress. Petty? Maybe. But I paid for it. And she didn't deserve comfort. Next, I visited my parents. My mom answered the door. She was confused. Happy at first. I wasn't expecting you. Want some coffee? No, I said. I want to talk to Dad. Alone. She froze. Then nodded. My father came out of the den like he was walking into a boardroom. Confident. Smiling. Hey, kiddo. Everything okay? No, I said. He frowned. Something happened? Yeah. You and Marissa. His entire face changed. Not panic. Not guilt. Just a slow awareness that his game was over. I took out my phone and dropped it on the coffee table. Opened the album, labeled them. I know everything. He said nothing. The messages. The hotel. The phone calls. The timing. Every look you gave her when you thought I wasn't paying attention. Still nothing. I don't want an apology, I said. I don't care why. I don't care if you think it wasn't serious. I just want you to know what comes next. He narrowed his eyes. Which is? Nothing. No screaming. No fights. Just silence. I turned to my mother, who stood frozen in the hallway. Did you know? She shook her head, but something in her eyes told me she'd at least suspected. You should have said something, I told her. I didn't want to believe it, she whispered. Belief wasn't your job. Protecting your son was. She started crying. I didn't comfort her. I walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't answer when my dad called after me. Didn't flinch when my mom begged me to please talk about this. Because talking was what they did while pretending everything was fine. I was done pretending. The next day, I sent one message to our extended family group chat. If you're wondering why you won't see me around anymore, my father slept with my girlfriend. My mother did nothing. I'm done with both. Keep the holidays. I'm not coming back. Then I left the chat. What came next wasn't rage. It was subtraction. Deleting photos. Blocking numbers. Walking through my life with a scalpel and cutting out anything that had their fingerprints on it. But I wasn't done yet. Because Marissa wasn't just my girlfriend. She was also connected to my job. To my reputation. She had friends we shared. People we both knew. And while I didn't want revenge in the form of rumors or drama, I didn't want something else. I wanted truth. The kind that couldn't be spun. The kind that ended careers. Some people are afraid of the truth because they think it will make them look weak. I wasn't. Because the truth wasn't embarrassing for me. It was for them. I hadn't lied. I hadn't cheated. I hadn't played both sides while pretending to be a good man. I had trusted people, and they had burned me for it. So I let the truth do what I didn't need to say out loud. And I made sure the right people heard it. The first ripple hit Marissa. She worked in digital marketing, a cozy mid-level position at a boutique PR firm downtown. I wasn't close to many of her coworkers, but I knew enough through mutuals. Knew how much she cared about image. About appearing professional. Graceful under pressure, she used to call it. So I sent a message to the firm's internal tip line. Not a rage-filled expose. Just a detailed, factual message. Your employee Marissa, last name, has been engaging in a long-term, inappropriate relationship with the father of her partner, knowingly maintaining the relationship while continuing to benefit from both parties professionally and socially. Attached is documented evidence. I attached the screenshots. Not the flirtation, just the part where she acknowledged who he was. Her words. I wish we could tell him. I hate hiding. You're literally his dad. I wasn't trying to get her fired. I just wanted her image cracked wide open. HR didn't reply to me directly, of course. But I heard back a week later through one of our mutual contacts. Apparently, they brought her in for a formal conversation about personal conduct. No immediate consequences, but a warning, a mark on her record. She hated that. Marissa always cared more about appearances than consequences. And now, everyone at work was looking at her differently. She was no longer the poised, ambitious one. She was the woman who slept with her boyfriend's father. I didn't stop there. Next came the apartment. She was still living in the place we'd shared. My name was on the lease. I had every right to file for removal, but I didn't. Instead, I used my legal leverage to speed up the sale of the unit, something we'd always talked about doing eventually. Only now, I was the one pushing the button. I listed the unit, set the price, hired the agent, gave her 30 days to vacate. She called me 3 times in a panic, left one voicemail that ended in sobs. You said you didn't want to ruin my life. Why are you doing this? I didn't respond. Because I wasn't ruining her life. I was removing her from mine. My father was next. He didn't lose his job, yet. But I found out something interesting during my quiet research. He was up for a leadership role at his company, a regional vice president position. It would have meant more money, more travel, and most importantly, more visibility. That visibility required a review of professional conduct. So I made sure HR saw what I saw. I submitted a signed, notarized statement outlining the facts of the affair. I included evidence that he knowingly pursued a relationship with his son's partner. I also included the timeline of how long it went on, overlapping with family events, business dinners, and public appearances. They didn't fire him, but they didn't promote him either. He didn't even make the final shortlist. That was enough. His ambition had always been bigger than his love for anyone else. Now he'd plateaued, stuck in a position he used to look down on, a ceiling he couldn't break. Because of me. By month 3, the calls stopped. Marissa gave up first. Her pride couldn't take it. My father tried longer. Messages. Emails. One physical letter that looked like it had been sitting in his car for days. I know I messed up. I miss our family. I miss you. I didn't even open it. Just handed it to my lawyer and asked him to document the contact. We were already preparing a civil motion. Not to sue, but to formally sever financial obligations and shared accounts my father had set up years ago to build generational wealth. I didn't want his money anymore, but I wanted the paper trail to show that I walked away from it. On my terms. I told my mother the full story 2 months after the blow-up. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. She looked tired. Older. She kept wringing her hands like she expected me to scream. I didn't. I just said, I needed you to see me. You didn't. She cried. Said she'd suspected but never wanted to believe it. That confronting him would have meant blowing up the family. That she thought maybe, if she stayed quiet, it would go away. It didn't go away, I said. You just waited until it took me down with it. She apologized. I didn't forgive her, but I thanked her for showing up this time. Then I walked out. I haven't seen her since. Extended family reached out. Some with confusion. Some with sympathy. A few said things like, are you sure it wasn't a misunderstanding? Maybe it was emotional, not physical. But he's your dad. I didn't entertain any of it. There are certain lines that once crossed, become permanent. He wasn't my dad anymore. He was just a man who traded his son for attention. And as for Marissa, she moved. A friend told me she deleted all her socials. Started a new job in a different city. I hope she thrives. I hope she gets therapy. I hope she rebuilds. But not with me in the picture. Not even in the background. Because this isn't one of those stories where people circle back and find closure. We don't fix what never should have been broken. We replace it. Some nights, I still feel it. The sting of the betrayal. The way it rearranged my brain. Made me question every instinct I had. But then I remember, I didn't lose anything that was worth keeping. They lost me. They lost the man who would have forgiven them, supported them, even protected their reputations. And I didn't raise my voice once. Here it is, the final chapter. Part 4 brings closure, but not the kind anyone begged for. This is the long, final silence, the emotional severance, the legacy of betrayal and the quiet clarity that follows. Over 1,300 words, written in the cold and calm tone you've asked for. Title: My girlfriend slept with my dad. My family hid it. So I burned every bridge on my way out. Asterisk Part 4. I gave them exactly what they deserved, silence, and a life without me in it. There's a strange calm that comes after the last thread snaps. Not relief, not even closure, just silence. Clean, cold, untouched, like walking out into a snow-covered street the morning after a storm. You know something violent happened, but now everything's quiet, and you're the only one standing. That's what it felt like after I walked away from them. I didn't scream. I didn't curse. I didn't post rage online or drag them publicly like people expected me to. I just vanished. Let the facts speak for themselves. Let the absence linger. Let the weight of what they did echo in every unanswered message, every cold shoulder, every invite I ignored. They got exactly what they gave me. Nothing. 6 months passed. Then a year. In that time, I started over. Quietly. Methodically. I moved cities. Not far, but far enough that I never had to risk bumping into any of them by accident. I changed jobs, switched banks, registered new contact information. I wiped them from my emergency contacts, my beneficiary list, and my phone entirely. I even changed my number, not to block them out, but to keep me from ever reaching back. There's something powerful in resisting the urge to explain. They didn't deserve an explanation. They deserved the silence of someone who saw the full picture and walked away anyway. I kept tabs, of course, not because I missed them, but because I wanted to make sure I was right, that I hadn't imagined how self-centered they were, that they didn't change, that they didn't suddenly become decent human beings after I left. And I was right. Marissa resurfaced on social media under a different name. Same face, same voice, new city, new job. The rebrand was obvious. Her captions read like therapy soundbites, all about healing, growth, and moving forward with grace. She never mentioned what she'd done, never owned it, just pretended that the past had happened to her, not because of her. That's how you know someone hasn't changed. They only show the scars they want you to see. My father? He went quieter. After the promotion fell through, he stopped trying to climb, stayed in his mid-level position, avoided office events, spent most weekends at home alone. I know that because mutual friends told me he started missing birthdays, stopped hosting barbecues. His name used to carry weight in the neighborhood. Now, people whisper it. Isn't he the one who? Yeah, with his son's girlfriend. Wild. You can survive scandal, but you don't get to pick what people remember you for. And no matter how many years passed, everyone still remembered what he'd done. My mother kept trying. The only one who did. She sent cards on my birthday, texted on holidays, left voicemails every few months. Always the same message, said in different ways. I didn't know what to do. I miss you. I wish we could go back. She never once said, I should have protected you. So I never once answered. It wasn't about punishment. It was about self-respect. I could have gone back. Could have accepted their apologies. Could have let them explain. Could have sat at a holiday table and smiled through the tension, like so many families do. But I didn't want to be someone who smiled through betrayal. I wanted to be someone who meant it when I said I was done. So I stayed done. I dated again. Slowly. Carefully. Not because I was scared, but because I knew what it felt like to trust someone who looked you in the eye while tearing you apart behind your back. I don't distrust love, but I understand now that love without respect is just control in a prettier outfit. So I watch for signs. I listen harder. And when I feel that flicker of doubt, I don't second-guess it anymore. I don't make excuses. I just leave. One night, a few years after everything ended, I was sitting on my apartment balcony. The city lights were soft. The air smelled like rain. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. One line. You really cut us off forever, huh? I knew it was him. I didn't need a name. Didn't need a voice. I read it once. Deleted it. Blocked the number. And that was it. You don't always get revenge in a movie-ending way. No final confrontation. No courtroom drama. No public humiliation. Sometimes the best revenge is being gone when they finally realize what they lost. And never explaining why. Now, I'm good. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just free. I don't think about them unless I'm writing about it. I don't feel that itch in my chest when someone says family is everything. Because I know that for some of us, family is the first betrayal we learn to normalize. And walking away from it isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing you'll ever do. To the people who say, but they're your family, I say, no, they were a lesson. And I learned it. So if you're reading this, maybe someone lied to you. Maybe someone broke something you spent years building. Maybe the people who should have spoken up stayed silent while you fell apart. Here's what I'll tell you. You don't have to get even. You don't have to explode. You just have to walk away and mean it. And when they ask where you went, don't answer. Let them sit in the silence they earned.